This video will show how to ensure that both system-wide non-working days as well as individual user PTO non-working days get skipped in the task schedule as well as the resource allocation reports. In the example I'll be using, my system-wide non-working day is an office holiday here on Tuesday, February 2nd. And the user that I'll be using for his own PTO day is Mr. Bean, and his PTO day is Monday the 1st. To start, we'll look at some preemptive settings that you will need to make. First, let's go to the Work Schedules add-on in the Add-ons home. Configure this add-on. Whichever system default work schedule you're using, you'll need to make sure that all company holidays are entered. I'm using the system default, so you'll see that I've got February 2nd, Tuesday, as a non-working day for my whole system-wide company. And you'll also need to ensure this box is checked to allow users to edit their own work schedules so that Mr. Bean can enter his PTO day. The next setting that we'll want to go to in the add-ons is for projects and tasks. The projects and tasks add-on. This is where you'll need to make a decision if you want to enable a setting across the whole system or on a project by project basis. If you want to make this setting across the whole system for all projects, you'll check the box here in the add-on. This will allow projects to use individual users' work schedules or personal work calendars in addition to the system-wide default calendar. If you want this to apply to all projects, you'll click on here and then apply it to all projects. Otherwise, if you want this to be applied to one project only, you'll go to that one project or individual projects one by one and check the box right here. Use the resources personal work calendar when adding resource to the project. On the project level, one other thing that you'll need to make sure you do is on the resource assignment. Mr. Bean has a personal work day, and we're going to use some of the days from his personal work schedule. So what we also need to do is in Mr. Bean's project assignment, make sure that he's using the personal default work schedule rather than the project default, which comes from the system itself. Using the personal default, if we go into Mr. Bean's schedule and edit his work schedule here, it's going to take the personal non-working day as well as the system-wide. One other thing you'll need to make sure in Mr. Bean's profile as well as everyone's profile in the system. So if I go back to his and edit his profile here, underneath resource info, you'll need to make sure that his work calendar inherits from that system-wide default wherever all of your holidays are entered. Now that we've made all these preemptive settings, it's time to check to make sure that Mr. Bean's schedule is properly adjusted. So let's go back to that project that we were looking at. Let's go back to the task list. And there's one task that falls over those days. Allocate cooking supplies. This actually falls over those days that we're looking at. So let's take a look at in the resource allocation report. As you can see, those days are actually skipped. Allocate cooking supplies was originally scheduled to happen over the 1st and the 2nd, but as you can see, those days are completely wiped out, both in the allocation and any assignments for work days. If I go back to the task list here, you can see that there's 3 days and they've been actually pushed to the 3rd and up to the 5th. This will work the same on any other allocation reports or allocation timeline reports, as they take the same calendar settings and work schedule settings as well as project settings to inherit from the personal work schedule. So just to recap, there's a couple settings that you'll need to make on the project level to make sure that the personal default schedule is taken for each user. You'll also need to make sure that your work schedule on the add-on for work schedules is configured properly to use that correct system default for all users in the system, as well as enable users to edit their own work schedule. You'll also want to make sure that on the project and tasks add-on, that whether you're enabling it across the whole system or on a project by project basis, that this box is checked. For more information about how work schedules work, we have additional articles and videos in our Help Center and PI YouTube channel. Thank you.